I've been after one of these bad boys for a long time. Hello, it's Gavin Lazarus, here to talk to you about Earthquaker Device's special cranker pedal, because after all, how many pedals do you need?
Just one more, just one more.
So I've been excited about the special cranker pedal since I first saw somebody review it on the old YouTube. But I haven't got round to getting one because I'm a poor working musician. I can't just splash out, and order pedals whenever I want them. But one cropped up recently and it was in the special limited edition of pink. Well, I don't know if they're limited. I'm assuming they're limited because ordinarily the pedal is a sort of orangey brown finish on top of the black. But this one is a stunning lurid pink, which I very much like. And I got this secondhand for a very charming price. So I thought I'd try it out. I wanted a drive that was going to create some gnarly amp-like overdrive. I know it's impossible to talk about exactly what that is, but I guess we're talking more without really colouring your tone too much. But what I've also liked about what I've seen of this is it's got quite a hefty sound when that happens. So I'm just going to have a quick look at it now and see if it's actually doing that. I'm running, obviously, my Fender Telly through the Fender Hot Rod DeVille 2x12. Settings coming up on screen for you now. It's set clean, pretty much like I always set these things. It's relatively clean and reasonably loud. So the special cranker is a nice simple device which I like. It's got 3 knobs on it. 1 is the level, self-explanatory. 2 is the tone, also self-explanatory. And 3 is the more control, which is also self-explanatory, but essentially is what would normally be called the gain control. But I like that it's called more. There is a toggle switch on it as well, which is simply a switch between germanium diodes, clipping diodes, and the silicon clipping diodes. So I would expect the germanium one to be darker and more sort of vintage sounding, and the silicon one to be brighter and perhaps more modern sounding. We shall see. I've heard that this has got a lot of gain on tap, a lot of headroom on tap. So I've now got, it's in the germanium setting and everything is at 12 o'clock. I think it's going to blow the roof off, but let's give it a go. First of all, clean tone. Here we go. Actually, it didn't do what I thought it might do, which is absolutely raise the volume floor. What it did give was a lot of, dare I say, amp-like breakup. That's pretty good. So that was the germanium setting. Let's see exactly, not changing a thing. Everything at 12 o'clock. Going to go to the silicon. First of all, clean again. Yeah, I'd say that's a good deal more a sort of modern and crisp and clean and really quite chunky. I like them both. Yeah, that's a great start, and to me that is doing exactly what was expected. A very amp-like breakup. Let's go through the paces now and sort of dial in maximum and minimum. So we'll try and get unity gain at all points, or perhaps just a bit above unity gain, but there or thereabouts. I'm going to go back to germanium, and I'm going to keep everything else the same but mess about with the tone stack. Let's see how subtle that is or how obvious that is. So back to germanium and the tone stack all the way to the bass. So treble rolled off. There is a lot of sustain, as you can hear. I mean, I cut that off well in its prime. It blooms very long. Let's do the same with the silicon diode. It's a great sounding thing, it really is. Because that's with the tone rolled all the way off, which is something I probably wouldn't normally do. You could really hear the difference. I don't know if get it in the audio, but here in the room, the difference between the silicon and the germanium is very obvious with that tone rolled off. With the germanium, it sounded really dark and woolly, and I don't think it's a tone that I particularly use. But actually that one, the silicon one, was good. I actually think that would be a usable lead tone, especially if you maybe had some delay on there as well. Let's try that. Saying that even with that tone rolled all the way back, that's a usable tone. Let's pull the tone stack back up to midway just to remind ourselves. Let's try pulling that tone stack up all the way to the top. Still on the germanium. Pretty bright, maybe needs tagging back a bit. Let's try that actually before we move on to the silicon version of it. Let's just try tagging that back to maybe 3 o'clock. Going to go on to the silicon setting now. Remember, more is still, everything's at 12 o'clock. This is silicon setting all the way, dimed the tone right up. That's gnarly. I mean, it's good, but it's, strips the paint off the wall here, leaves no neighbour unangered. Here is 3 o'clock setting, silicon diode. It's just really big and ampy. Okay, we're gonna pull the tone stack back to probably near 2 o'clock. I'm gonna go to germanium diodes, and I'm now gonna mess about and see just how gnarly this does get when I crank them more. So this is where we are at the moment. Now, actually, just having moved back that tone control from 3 to just below 2 really affects how much attack that's got. Here's 3. Here's where it's set now. Bit up. So it's not just getting brighter, it's also breaking it up a little bit more. It's pushing the speaker a little bit harder. Definitely your tone control, very much like the tone stack on your amp, actually also affects how your overdrive is responding. It's really doing what you would expect an amp-like breakup to do. So I'm going to pull that back a little bit, and now we're going to give it more. More's up to 2 o'clock. I have to keep stopping it because I don't want you to be here for half an hour listening to this thing sustaining. But sustaining it is. I'm going to switch it to the silicons now. Do the same thing. This is the exact same settings. We are at 2 o'clock on tone, 2 o'clock on more. Beast, absolute beast. Right, let's go then to lock up your daughter's setting. So this is not just more, but most, all the way. Germanium. Setting silicon. Hang on to your hats, folks. just to give you that tone stack idea, I'm going to flip the tone down to its lowest and see where we are. Still in silicon. And now if we dare, I'm going to round the tone stack right up. So actually, I don't know if you can hear on the audio, but although it was still as gnarly as, the actual decibel volume went down. So theoretically, this is now just going to be, apologies everyone in Queensland. So that's it, folks. I can tell you that I think this really does what it advertises to do. It gives me such a natural amp like breakup, and I can really see myself being extremely happy using this consistently on my board. Think it's good for rhythm sounds, think it's good for lead sounds, and every element of it that I used today I found usable in some way or other. So I've got to say, this thing is both a cranker, for sure it's a cranker, and secondly, it's very special. Ladies and gentlemen, Earthquaker Devices special cranker, because after all, how many pedals do you need?